order. This is the regular meeting of the Village of Leonard. Today is October 14th, 2019. It is Columbus Day, but traditionally we've continued to meet on the second Monday of the month regardless of that fact. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a brief invocation? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you guide and bless this meeting, guide the decisions that we make, may they be in the best interest of this community. In your name we pray, amen.
I know it. We started exactly on time.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, so could we have a roll call for attendance of the village council?
President McDonald.
Here.
Mrs. Sotheby. Here. Mrs. Arundel. Here. Mrs. Swack.
Here.
Mr. Kennedy.
Here.
Please note for the record that both Clerk Cindy Grosskopf and Treasurer Judy Verse are present. Council has received the minutes of the regular meeting held September 9th of the Village Council. Are there any questions, changes, corrections? If none, a motion to approve the minutes would be in order.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay. Council has before it an agenda for this evening. Are there any questions, changes, or corrections?
We need to change major to 25,000 instead of 26,330. 35.
25,330?
Yes, and then we need to remove amended at the top.
Anything else? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
I make a motion we accept the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay. Council has the treasurer's report for the month of September. Are there any questions regarding that document? If none, a motion to approve and file it would be in order.
I make a motion that we receive and file the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we have a roll call for receiving and filing the report.
Mrs. Arundel. Yes. Mrs. Swack.
Yes.
President McDonald.
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy.
Yes.
Mrs. Sotheby.
Yes.
Okay, council has bills payable for the month of September. At least I did. Where did it go?
It's on the back of the treasurer's report.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any questions, changes, or corrections other than the one that was noted by Cindy regarding the amount on the agenda, which does match the account payable? So a motion to pay the bills would be in order and the amounts stipulated.
I'd like to motion that we pay the general account at $4,263.11 and for us to pay major at $25,330.75 and nothing to local.
Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Are there any questions on the motion or the bills? Hearing none, could we have a roll call to approve payment?
Mr. Kennedy.
Yes.
President McDonald.
Yes.
Mrs. Swack.
Yes.
Mrs. Sotheby.
Yes.
Mrs. Arundel.
Yes.
Okay. The next item is public comment. Anybody like to address the council regarding matters not on the agenda? Mr. Malia?
Yeah, I don't see it on here, but I'd like to know what the schedule for the sidewalks are, if there is any.
Yeah, I was going to hit that in my report, but I can tell you now if you don't want to stay, it's supposed to start this week.
Start this week?
Yep.
Okay.
Weather permitting, keep it
Yeah.
above freezing, you know?
Yeah, right, understood. And then the other thing I wanted to know is, have we gotten anyone to work for the village yet?
No.
No, because the alley's getting pretty cluttered again.
Yeah, I went down it the other day and looked at it. I have spoken with another person, and Don has been given his name and phone number, so hopefully Don will check back and let me know what's going on.
Okay.
But Don had indicated that he was going to try and work this past weekend, but I don't think he did. I don't think he got to it. Okay. If there's no further public comment, we'll move on to new business. The Community Beautification Committee has recommended an expenditure and would like authorization. Anybody want to follow up on that? It was $200, correct?
Correct, that's what they would like.
Okay.
This would be for the decorating committee, and the money and the expenditures are going for the Christmas party. So the tree, the Christmas decorations, the Santa letters, the hot chocolate, the cookies, everything like that for the kids that we do at the tree lighting. So that's what they need it for. That's what they're requesting.
There
I'd
is,
like to, go ahead.
there is enough money in the account.
So what they're asking for is approval to pay up to $200.
Right.
And asking us to approve that, so they don't have to come in and request it for their receipts, and then just be able to turn in their receipts to get their money
Sounds
up to
good.
that expenditures. if you
They can
guys-
get a check for the tree before they go.
Yeah, I think they're also looking to help to see if they can even get a tree donated, but just, they know that new decorations and some things and stuff are needed this year to kind of spruce everything up.
I'd like to know who is on this committee.
That would be myself, that would be Michelle and Megan Rayner right now. So their next thing, Mike, do you want me to keep going with
Yes.
the committee? Okay.
Sure.
So in speaking with them, Michelle's supposed to be heading up the committee, Michelle Huck. And then you have Megan Rayner and then myself. What they've asked to do is, it was brought up at last meeting for the decorating committee to maybe merge with the parks committee. So that way you'd have more able bodies and more people to help with things. I brought that to them because they haven't been here for the meetings. And they like that idea and would like to move forward with that. So I guess what I'd like to do is motion that the decorating committee and the park committee merge going forward on a certain date. If we want to start it next year, whatever that might be. But if you think about it, that they're the ones who put together the scarecrows and decorated for the scarecrows and everything. That came out of the school, elementary. So families all donated, and the clothes and everything, and the straw. And then the kids all put together the scarecrows, and then Michelle and Megan went around and placed all the scarecrows all over the town. So hopefully,
Well, one point that's been brought up is that the person in charge should be a resident, because if we're using public monies, then it should be tax money that people are paying into that are overseeing those monies.
right. And Michelle was,
She was, she has.
Yeah, she just moved
That's
in.
why I bring that up.
yes, yes. So I guess we need to decide, or, I guess I've
That's
never.
that's an organizational matter.
Yeah,
Did we ever get bylaws from the decorating committee?
I don't believe so.
It's not a major point. We can deal with that.
I'm not even sure Michelle had bylaws from, she kind of stepped into from
Yeah,
headed it up before,
right.
so.
Well, I think it's $200 is, the money's there and it's a reasonable
I agree
request.
with that.
So is there a motion then to authorize the expenditure for the purposes of the Christmas party and Christmas tree?
I'll make a motion for up to $200 for use of the Christmas party.
I'll second it.
Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
President McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Sotheby?
Yes.
Mrs. Swack?
Yes.
Mrs. Airedale?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, do we need to do something about wanting a motion to combine the,
No, because I have spoken with the village attorney, and we've got to take another look at it, because the Park and Rec Committee has specific duties in regards to the recreation plan and like our 5-year recreational plan
Okay.
for the village. So I think we can combine them in theory, but not in fact, try and
Okay.
get them
So
out.
we're
We want to keep the money separate because the monies
Right.
that are raised for the one.
Right.
Well, both parts have donated money, so
Yes, they do.
But we're not talking about combining them.
Right.
Those have to stay separate because they were donated for specific purposes or allocated for specific purposes. But
But the people,
let me learn a little bit more about how or if we
Okay.
can manage
I
this.
can let them know. How do you want to handle, since the person that was heading up the committee is moved out of the village? How do you,
Well, the festival committee, the new chairperson does not live in the village either.
right?
So
But
I'm
that's
not,
a township event, it's not just the village.
well, but the festival committee is a village committee. And there's a separation there. The festival committee is a village committee, and we had to do that in order to get insurance coverage on
Sandy
the...
Walensek had it for years and she wasn't a resident.
Right, but we also ran into an insurance problem several years ago where the concern was that if the monies in that weren't funneled through the village, then it wasn't a village event. So the festival committee kind of became a duplicate of itself in order to be able to operate as a village entity and have insurance coverage through the village, which is basically covered by the village. It didn't cost the village any more to do that. But then they do all of their own actions independently. They fundraise, et cetera, and then whatever money they do authorize and give to the village, we can expend that on their behalf. So,
But we authorize money from the village for their committee. They're given so much out of the budget
for which committee?
for the decorating committee. I don't
Yeah.
believe the Strawberry Festival Committee, other than insurance, has anything set aside for
No.
the money.
No, it doesn't.
would Megan be interim? She's Leonard.
Right, she's Leonard.
She
I
could
would
be
have to-
interim, potentially. She's on the
Yeah.
committee right now, so.
Yeah.
Well,
And it may not be an issue. I just brought it up because it was brought up to me.
let me do some research on it before we go any further. I doubt that there's a legal
I
reason.
think she still has her house here, if there's a thing right now. It's not technically closed yet.
Well.
So you could still claim that she's still a
If she's still registered in the village as a, let me explore that further, and then I'll get back with everybody.
So then, yeah, and then let me ask, then do you want, is it okay for Michelle to turn in the receipts, or you want just receipts from Megan, or?
doesn't matter.
For now, I don't think it matters, does it, Judy?
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right, what did I do with that? We approved it?
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The village has been asked to participate in the 200th anniversary of Oakland County. And they've asked us for there are many things going on, but two of the prominent items are that we adopt a resolution or proclamation to celebrate that occasion, which is March 28th of 2020 will be the 200th birthday. And they've also optionally, I mean, the proclamation is an option, but also they are asking every community in Oakland County to plant a tree or trees, preferably oak trees, to commemorate that occasion. So they sent out a packet, and they do have some recommendations about the tree family being white oak, and that the cost could be anywhere from $200 to $300 for a 2.5-inch caliper tree, and that they also included a list of county associated approved land suppliers for the trees, which we have the option of using, we don't have to. And they also provide, I think, 4 examples of trees that are recommended for planting. One being the swamp white oak, another being a kindred spirit wears oak, which is it's a cross of the English oak and the swamp white oak. The regal prince wears oak, and the bur oak, which Oakland County has the world, I think it's the North American record bur oak in Rochester Hills. It's it's right on Livernois. It's a huge oak, beautiful tree. Very low to, I mean, the limbs start very low to the ground, and it is quite a nice tree. So we have, I guess, 2 pieces of business in regards to that. If we can, we can adopt the proclamation. With council's indulgence, I'll read it. Proclamation to celebrate the 200th birthday of Oakland County. Whereas on March 28, 2020, Oakland County will celebrate its 200th birthday, and whereas the bicentennial celebration will include all 62 county communities in numerous events, such as the 200 oak tree plantings, festivals, concerts, and much more. And whereas Oakland County is home to 1.25 million residents within 907 square miles, boasts model rural, suburban, and urban communities and schools, as well as 11 colleges and universities, prides its heritage as the frontier of freedom, and it played a key role in the Civil War. It is the epicenter of the auto industry, arsenal of democracy, pivotal roles with civil rights and union organization, and home of the titans of industry, entertainment, culture, and politics. And whereas the Village of Leonard recognizes the significance of Oakland County's bicentennial celebration and looks forward to participating in the many events honoring the outstanding contributions of the county, we urge the citizens of the Village of Leonard, the businesses, nonprofit organizations, and schools of the Oxford School District, as well as other school districts in the community, to take part in commemorating this historic endeavor. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Leonard proudly joins the other 61 communities in Oakland County to designate the beginning of this celebration on March 28, 2020, the 200th birthday of the founding of the Oakland County, Michigan. Be it known to all reading this proclamation that it was adopted by the Village of Leonard on October 14th, 2019, and is included in the minutes as a permanent record. So I would ask, are there any questions? And if there are none, would there be a motion then to adopt this proclamation?
I make a motion that we adopt this proclamation.
I'd like to second that motion.
Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
President McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Swack?
Yes.
Mrs. Arundel?
Yes.
Mrs. Sotheby?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll make a note that that was adopted unanimously.
I'm part of this committee.
Right.
And my responsibility was to get the information to Oxford schools, Kingsbury schools, and have done so.
Okay, great.
What they do with it is their choice.
Right, right.
Where does the tree go?
Well, that's our next item. That's actually, so my recommendation would be the trailhead over off of Beza Street, because we're talking about a large tree with, you need good soils for it. I'm afraid the nature park would be a little too wet and quite shaded. A lot of it is shaded. So we could make an event of it when we're ready to plant, which I would assume would be next spring. They do say you can plant in the fall, but I think it's getting a little late in the year to accomplish that. So that was my thought. And as far as the type of tree, they suggested 4, but that doesn't mean we, there are other oaks. They did specify that red oak is subject or prone to oak wilt, which is becoming a problem in Michigan. So I can pass these in case you want to take a look. Take a minute. So any other questions? They do sell smaller trees, like it says here that 3-inch tree is about as big as you can plant manually. If you want to try and enlist volunteers, etc., you can also buy containers where they would probably be just basically a sapling, you know, maybe a couple feet tall at the most. Those are usually about $50 a piece. But I was thinking that one tree would be more significant.
What if we planted it by the mill?
The mill is a work in progress, and there's going to have to be some excavation on that property at some point, and as well, the oaks don't tolerate salt spray or from roads, etc. as well. I wondered about the salt barn, but I think if we keep the planting on the west side of the drainage ditch that runs through the park, it will provide adequate separation.
Does it get like a plaque or something like that?
We could certainly do that as well, yeah.
Close enough for the school to walk to?
So are there any other questions or thoughts?
Would there be room on the west side?
Well, there's a couple of, I think there's an oak there already, an oak and a maple that we planted 6 or 8 years ago.
School kids?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. That's where I thought you were talking.
Yeah, the other end, we could plant it on the south side as well. I think there's a couple apple trees near the road, but we'd have to stay back from the road quite a ways, I think. So anybody got a favorite tree or location?
We were kindred spirit, I think,
I like kindred spirit for the color and the name.
Oh, really?
and its ability to be tolerant
Yeah,
and fast growing.
yeah.
Alrighty. Did you,
I like the bur oak. I think that would look good if we decided to put it at the trailhead, like between Beza and the parking lot, somewhere in that area. I think that would fill out that area really nicely.
Good idea too.
there is room there. I mean, there's room there for either. Yeah, when I'm in my thinking, when I think of an oak tree, I always think full. And the kindred spirit is very vertical. And the Regal Prince ware is also more vertical than full. But we can take a vote, you know, if.
Probably either way.
Where do the funds come from for the tree? Can they be donated?
We could work on getting donations, for sure.
But they have to be a 2-inch.
Well, I think for the best chance of survival, it's to get it in early as early as you can get them planted in the spring, and then you can nurture them, get them rooted and everything before winter comes. Most trees come with a year, like a guarantee that they won't die within a year.
And when we're talking a couple $100, is that including the planting of that tree?
Well, that's
the price of the tree.
That's the price of the tree. The assumption is that if we buy a 2.5-inch caliper tree, we can plant it ourselves.
Oh, I see.
We won't need a tree spade or whatever. We can dig it up, and like we did with some of those other trees.
Okay.
I think the maple and the oak that we planted before, they might have been 1.5 or 2 inch, somewhere in there.
And then mentioned 200 trees, 62 count, or 62 municipalities. Do they
Right.
expect us to do more than one, or?
No, we could do more than one if we wanted to, but
Just one.
no, I think it's just a honorary, marker or benchmark.
They send us a flyer or something?
No, that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
I'm aware of, no, that, I'm sure we can get a plaque made.
Well, no, I just thought maybe they.
Wasn't sure if they
No,
did
this,
put them
it's
together.
pretty much, they reach out and say,
Go on the tree.
yeah, I think they just reach out and they say, here's what we'd like the communities to participate in, and then we foot the bill. It's pretty much.
Makes sense.
So,
Well, it'd be fun to have the school kids out there when it's planned.
right,
Make a deal out of it.
right.
Or even you could have the scouts donate their time, because they're always looking for volunteer time, and have them dig the hole to plant the tree.
It would definitely be the way to go. Do you have your hand raised? Oh, okay. Well, I don't imagine we have to decide this right away, but come probably February with our next budget, end of February, if we don't buy it before then, we'll have to consider where we are with it. Hopefully, we can initiate some fundraising somehow.
What might be a good idea, if you have an idea where you want to get it from, is ask a nursery to be looking for the tree that you're
Right.
looking for too.
Yeah,
Because if everybody's wanting to plant an oak tree, there may be a little, I don't know, if there's that big a demand.
yeah, I can email the vendors that the county uses
Okay.
and see what they've got.
Well, I think should ask
Yeah,
at picnics too, because
Yeah.
he's always
he's very generous.
very generous.
Okay.
And if he's,
His name is slipping my mind right now.
yeah, well, he's donated, so if we have to buy, it would be nice to buy
Buy
some
from
from
him.
somebody that's been
Right.
donated.
If it's,
Okay. All right, so I don't think we have to take action on that, but we are in consensus that we'd probably like to do that, right? At least, that we'll plan on that for next year. Okay. All right. Okay, this is probably the most important consideration this evening, the hours for Halloween this year. I've spoken with the fire department. They do intend to have a Halloween party at 7 o'clock, assuming that we have our trick-or-treating on October 31st from 6 to 7, which is what our customary time. So I would recommend that we do that. Is there a motion to make that official?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Second on Mrs. Sweat. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the Halloween hours for the Village of Leonard being set from 6 to 7 p.m. on October 31st, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. And again, if you are asked, the fire department is going to have their cider and donuts and treats for the kids at 7 p.m. Okay. All right. Old business. We had talked several months ago about we would bring back up sanitary sewer study for review to see if it's feasible or if there's still an interest or desire to move forward with it. So I will open it up to the council first. Is there any direction we want to take on this? I have not heard from anybody in the last 2 months asking that we do it or that we don't do it, quite honestly. So I think there was a spike of interest driven by the idea that it would be nice to get downtown, moving and get things going. But I'm not, I think the price is pretty steep on everybody. So,
When I talked with Pauline, she said, you're talking 50,000 a home. With this few is what we would really need.
yeah.
And that's a lot of money for a family to have to come up with.
Well, if we were forgiven for, let's just say 40%, if we borrowed 2 million, 40% of that's 800,000, so, you know, we'd still be on the hook for 1 million too, so that number would go down. But it's still, even at half of that, it's a significant amount of money. It doesn't include the hookups and everything, all of that's extra. So,
I talked with somebody from Almont, and he said, what people don't realize is you are responsible from the hookup at street to your house. So if there's a problem in between, that's the homeowner's problem. The village doesn't have to pay for that. And I mean, this fellow, the village had done an error and they broke something and raw sewage was coming in his basement. He paid thousands and thousands of dollars, and the city of Almont, the village of Almont paid nothing because they said it was on his side. So, to me, that's scary.
well, it is a big decision because it's basically a permanent decision. And it means changing the way we do business as a council because we become a utility. We get into more regulation. We get into, you know, aside from just financing it and building it,
We have to
It's-
hire somebody.
it's a,
to handle
it's a big
it.
project. So we, you know, the study isn't that, relatively, it isn't that expensive. And you have to have a study if you intend to apply for a grant. And I think, Shar, you sent me a note, email, the rural development, the Department of Agriculture constantly sends out encouraging people, communities to take advantage of their loan services. So the money's out there, the problem is paying it back, you know, that's really what it is, so.
I think the only people that,
And does that study take in the whole village or just the downtown area?
The study would have to do the whole village in order to determine areas needing service, areas that couldn't be serviced or would absolutely have to be serviced.
And if you're in an area where they decide you have to be serviced, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's-
They can move up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then just on devil's advocate, how do you move out and sell your property if you know you need a new sewer bin? It just drives down your property. I'm just like, do you know what I mean? It's like, we're gonna get, I think, to a point, certain people are gonna be caught at that level of,
need a new septic for
Right.
50,000
or if you sell your house, you're gonna take a $50,000 hit. Do you know? I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm just saying it's out there.
They
I'm not saying it's
$50,000
tomorrow.
hit, and instead of paying, you know, 500,000, you know, I'll take the $50,000 hit.
okay, well, is there any other comment or thoughts or any action the council wants to take at this time?
Well, I think right now, I don't believe we have any large donations to the sewer study, as what the sewer committee, as far as I know, was going to obtain. So with that, you know, we'd have to try and find the money to do the sewer study.
I think it's a big decision that we have to make, and to your point, it's a permanent decision. Unfortunately, you know, moving forward, I think that there's always going to be considerations as to what regulation is going to push our way. I don't think now is the right time to do it. I mean, looking at our budget and our numbers, when we're talking about $200 for the decorating committee, where's that money coming from? I don't think funding this type of study right now makes sense. I do think we should reevaluate again in 6 months, maybe just to come back and table it, and that will also help us re-gauge public interest in this matter.
Okay. Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Just said not as such.
To
I'd like-
set it aside for 6 months and take it up in April? Would that be April?
Does it, is there any benefit
If we don't
to
include this month.
post-budget?
Yeah, that would be
That's
post-budget.
post-budget, so that would throw everything to the following year anyhow. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see anything really taking, growing feet and moving in the
Yeah.
next 6 months, so.
Was there anything like, because we had talked about, don't throw things at me. How, like if you were to increase the millage here by 1 for the next voting for 2020. Do we have to
Yeah.
do it prior to that?
It would be, yeah, it would be, a mill would generate 12, 13,000, Judy, somewhere in there.
So that would
So,
also help with our sidewalks that we're trying to get done for everybody.
well, are you talking about adding it for 1 year or permanently?
Permanently. Because I think a couple years ago, you guys were gonna ask for 2. Instead, you just went with 1 permanently. We probably should have done 2.
Well, let's deal with Alex's motion, and then we can see if there's something we want to follow through with. So there's a motion to table for 6 months until April. Does that sound right? Is there a second? Okay. Any questions on the motion? If none, all in favor of tabling the sanitary sewer study until April of 2020, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay. Jennifer, what about, we can, when we get into our budget discussions, which will be starting really December, we can talk about
Okay. I was
funding,
just wondering when that-
as well as expenditures. I'm really worried about the village truck. I found out just a couple months ago that it's actually 2 years older than I thought it was. So that's really like, oh man, news you don't need. But it requires constant, you have to watch, it's not just a matter of it breaking down, everything has to be watched. Fluids, everything on it leaks or it has to be repaired or replaced after very minimal, sometimes relatively minimal use. So we really need to talk about that when we talk about the budget and what our options are going to be. And I'll have some of that for the council as well.
I think next year also we're going to have to put crack going as well.
Yeah, I agree.
We're coming up on the 2-year mark.
Right.
So we need to make sure to maintain the roads so they don't deteriorate.
Yeah, and that's going to be an expensive proposition too. So, okay. Is there any further discussion then?
No, I just wanted to know, because I know people are worried about the sidewalks, the roads,
Yeah,
everything, and our budget's very lean.
okay. That pretty much covers the DPW too, what we just did, so. Okay, for my part, I believe I responded informally to an information request. I can't remember what it was. Oh, well, there was no formal information request. We did have one contact about a CDBG application. Did they ever come, Judy?
I
No?
haven't heard a word.
Okay. I just wanted to inform the council that I did send a thank you to the Rochester Area Heritage Festival Committee, thanking them for their donations.
And there was $73.01 in the jug, I think. Hold on, let me.
And then, as I discussed earlier, the Native Designs is the company. One of the owners happens to live in the village. They gave me the proposals for sidewalk repair. They made a great suggestion that instead of ripping out that tree and the roots and everything, why don't we just take the broken concrete out and then regrade it with white limestone for temporary use. So that's what we're going to try. We're going to do that. And then 78 and 99 Elmwood, where the trees were. They're gonna come in, remove those bad areas, and stump grind or root grind where they have to, and replace that. They intend to begin this week, and we'll have to give them a check for 50% tomorrow, but they hope to get it done quickly, so.
And that includes, they're doing the sidewalk repair too, correct?
Yeah, in those areas,
In
in the
those areas.
specific areas, right. Basically, three of the 4 areas that need it the most, so. Okay, and then we still haven't gotten a bill from the drain repair at Elmwood and Division. And Donna's gonna try and follow up and find out where they are on that. You haven't gotten it yet, have you, Judy? Okay.
Nope.
But I was told that it would be under budget. It would, you know, we would be happy with the price. So that's what Don told me. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. And I guess by way of explanation on that is, that is one of those time and material type jobs where they come in, they don't know what they're gonna find, they don't know how big it's gonna get. As it was, that sinkhole was right where the problem was. They did have to enlarge it, the area to work on it. And then Don did most of the repair work on the pipe itself himself. So the company basically just exposed it and then refilled it. They told Don they were going to come back and put hot asphalt back on that section of the road, which is still gravel, but hasn't happened yet, so.
Did you find out what caused that?
Yeah,
Age?
there was actually, a clay tile. It was a T tile, and it was crushed. It had collapsed in the V or broken. So they replaced it with plastic and rubber clamps on each end, so. Okay, also I wanted to inform everybody that I've been in communication with, and they've been in communication with the village. Cooper Standard is going to remove and replace the truck well on the west side of their building. And they called, you should have got an email from me, but I met with them along with Shar last week. They told us the scope of the program. They plan on doing it during working hours, during the week. They may run into a Saturday.
They may.
And they hope to have it done in 3 weeks, but there will be some noise and traffic disruption due to the activity. So, but they're not going to, we asked them not to increase traffic use of Beza, because that's basically a residential street, and they didn't see that as a problem, so.
They'll start around October 24th.
Right. And that pretty much covers everything that I've got. Okay. So we'll move on to reports. Summer Festival Committee, I have not heard anything.
She said nothing till January.
January.
Cable Commission, I did reply to the Cable Commission regarding the PEG fees. The cable television managers sent us the documentation that they used or obtained, and so we forwarded that to Charter Cable. Is there anything else, Shar, that needs to be? No. Okay. Decorating Committee, we good?
We're good. Next meeting will be in November, and that'll be just discuss all the things that'll be done for the Christmas event.
And it looks nice, the decorating.
Oh, good, okay.
If you need, if there's help needed or something, I can, let me know.
Okay, I will.
Okay, North Oakland Transportation Authority. We're in the process, I informed the committee several months ago that they have purchased a building on Glaspie Street, and they're in the process of renovating it or to accommodate parking and working on the entire fleet. but that'll only take up half of the building that they purchased. So they're looking at leasing the other half of the building for income. That has not been accomplished yet, and they haven't moved in yet. They had hoped to get in by the end of summer. That hasn't happened. They're spending quite a significant amount of money because they have to install ventilation because of the vehicles being parked inside, fire sprinklers or whatever, because of the gasoline and et cetera. So their meeting is this coming Thursday, and
But no getting the other half of the building on the market then?
pardon?
No getting the other half of the building on the market?
No, not until this is, basically till this is accomplished,
Gotcha.
with the fire protection and everything, so. And the building was occupied by one company previously, so there was a bathroom and an office area. In splitting it to try and make it attractive to another renter, so to offset some of the cost, there's a considerable amount of money involved in putting in two bathrooms, an office area, even an extra door. So I'm kind of wondering if we're taking on more than we really need to. And especially if we take in if we were to cohabitate with a nonprofit, there would continue to be no property tax. The moment you start taking money from a business or whatever, then you become a profit, you lose your tax exemption. So I'm having a devil of a time rationalizing why, and then we have to pay more for a manager to manage both operations because it's no longer just NODA. You know, we own a building, so that building has to be managed as well, especially if there's going to be another tenant in it. So it's turned into quite a big deal, and I can't honestly tell you how it's going to go. But
Is that the building behind the police department in Oxford on Gillespie?
what about it?
Is that the building where the old...
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Am I saying the wrong street?
No, I think
Gillespie's the one that goes north-south,
at the light,
right off of
At the-
Lakeville Road?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
So I will update the council when I've learned more. Planning Commission. We do have a Planning Commission meeting coming up. It is going to be,
It is not the 17th, as
The
it was originally
24th.
scheduled, it's the 24th.
Yeah, and they're-
And it is a special meeting inviting the public on a rezoning of a property at 40 Studios 44. Currently, the building has an offer, has accepted. However, in order to proceed, they need it rezoned. Currently, it is commercial only. They want it to go back to being commercial and residential so that somebody can again live in the same building that they're working in, which is what it was previously zoned as. So the zoning would return to previous. And on the 24th, the village is allowed to, or is encouraged to come in and make comment. We didn't see any issues with the businesses that were coming in were a tax preparation and flooring. I think the only bays in this building are off of the alley. And I don't see any trucks coming through that would make excessive noise. There's no forklifts to make, excessive noise for the residential area, so. But that would be the only thing that would be a concern for the immediate residents to come in and make sure that that was the case, not the case, so.
it would definitely have some benefit for the village. Get more residents, as well as, having the storefronts occupied and having a business in
Well,
there.
also multi-purpose. If during tax season, they're making money.
Right.
When it's not tax season, they're not making money, but now the flooring is a backup source of income. So it's more likely to be successful as an entity than a single unit operating occasionally on a weekend, every now and again, kind of,
Yeah.
that's currently running.
Previously, this parcel was rezoned from it was a combination of residential and light industrial, or limited industrial. And that's when the owners decided that they wanted to change the use, they came in and it was rezoned to commercial. The entire lot was. Now they want to go back to having a split zoning, which I did contact the village attorney and it is legal. So the only caveat to that is that we need a legal description saying exactly what parts are residential and what parts are for commercial use. And that they'll do that with their site plan. So we should be all set. They're aware of it. And we'll move forward from there. Anything else?
That was
from
the
PC?
only thing.
I'm still looking for a member for the planning commission. If anybody knows anybody, I have one prospect, but they're not ready to jump yet. So hopefully.
It's very difficult to come in, talk, basically the same thing, leave.
Yeah, once a month.
This was an exciting meeting. There was something that happened.
Yeah. Okay, Pollyant Trail Management Council, they meet this week. In case you haven't noticed, the pit toilet at the trailhead has been re-sided. I was volunteered for that job along with Bruce Pearson, and so that was our September project. Turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself. And there's some new signage there. The trail manager has really opened that area up, especially along the ditch line between the trailhead and the park. You can see through there now, gets lots more use, lots more, much nicer area. And we hope to address the well problems and have that ready in the spring. We'll reopen again in the spring with an eye towards keeping it open and not having the problems that we had this year. Okay, Village Park. Anything going on?
And have a meeting Wednesday?
Meeting Wednesday? Okay. And you should have gotten your community development block grant report in your packet. It just gives you the current totals, etc. And I'm hoping that we do get that one application. It would be for minor home repair. But we'll wait and see. Okay, there was one piece of correspondence from Haven.
Yeah, we do have Main Street meeting here on the 25th.
Ooh, how did I miss that? Yeah, you're gonna help me,
I will.
or I'm gonna help you.
You can help me.
Yeah, you just tell me what you need and what you want, and I will, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just so you know, it is for the heads of each community that's part of Main Street. And I believe they're going to be talking about grants, getting grants, how to look for grants. And they will be here from 9 till 11:30 or something that morning. And they've never met here before, so they wanted to come tonight. So I think that's kind of cool.
And what day is that again? I'm sorry.
It's a Friday morning.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be any objection if anybody wanted to stop by and say hi and welcome them or represent.
I think it's a good idea for people to get an idea what Main Street's about.
Yeah, so, but it's pretty much, as I understand it, an informal, they have an agenda, but it's casual. Okay, thank you, Sheriff. Keep me honest, I forgot it, that was one
I haven't.
yeah. Okay, we did get a communication, I think you have something in your packet from Haven. They are exploring the idea of using or asking for block grant funds from communities in Oakland County. They have not specifically asked us for money, but Judy and I talked it over, and I think we're going to try and learn more about what the requirements are and whether or not they differ from like Oxford Addison Youth Assistance, where we've we've named them in the past and not been able to contribute block grant funds to them for various reasons, so.
Can you tell me on the back if that means that money has been spent in Leonard?
Well, that's one of the questions I think that has to be addressed.
Wow.
Is this one was, yeah. I rather doubt it,
Okay,
but
Well, it says from July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019, 10 individuals receiving a program for crisis college for families in the village of Leonard.
Yeah, it's not that many people, so it
Yeah,
looks like it might be.
I guess I had to question whether or not they might have included anybody with Leonard mailing in
so it
that.
could be Addison Township.
So it would be part of
Okay.
Addison Township. That happens quite frequently. It happens quite frequently that way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's
Still,
good to
that's-
know.
That can be shared money if it can be
Right.
donated, because this is terrifying. There's
Yes.
even one or two people, it doesn't
Right.
matter, that's terrifying.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's all I have for the council. Is there any other matter that the council wants to address at this time?
Just,
Yes, I did.
do we have
That-
backups or something like that? 'Cause
What had happened was Sunday was Firefighters Memorial Day. It was I believe it was a statewide holiday declared by the governor. No, I think it was a national holiday. It was a national, and so the flags were lowered to half-mast. And then at Monday, the flag was hooked on the
Corner?
Yeah,
corner.
I couldn't get it
I had
off.
to get a ladder to go get it free and then finish lowering it and then finish raising it. So it took a day longer to get it done, and it is what it is, and no disrespect.
I mean, is it a problem that it is ripped? I know it's.
No, I think-
They get tattered, they need to be retired. I understand.
Right. Well, it was a state flag that was, and by rights, I think in the future, we'll have to take that state flag down if we're going to fly it at
Can anybody
half-mast.
repair it? I
I think it's not that bad. It was like it was hooked
No,
on
the
the,
state flag needs to
But it is very faded. That
Yes.
Michigan flag
Yeah.
is very faded.
Where is there a cost to getting a new one? What's the cost to getting, just
$46.
$46 to get a new one?
it varies.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends. See, I think that material that state flag is not as good as the fabric the U.S. flag is.
It's more of a nylon than it is like.
Right, so I think if we order them, we should order the nylon ones, not the,
How
But
often do
yeah,
those replace?
thanks for the note, but I didn't send you a reply.
That's
but
fine,
it
I was
was-
just making sure you saw it too. Well, and how often do those get replaced, or do they not? Is there no?
Just when somebody complains or notices it.
Or notices
No,
it, yeah, 'cause
notices
it's not
it.
really-
I tried to get it down, I couldn't get it loose. Because I tried to
You're
raise
flying
it.
flags constantly about every 8 months, and 6 to 8 months.
Okay. Anything else, council? If none, we might have to. Okay.
I'm gonna second that.
Are there any questions on the motion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed?
Or you,
Good night, everybody.
okay.